Hello and welcome to the 30-second drill, where we are adamant that we are far better viewing than Patriots Chargers and Patriots Steelers. I'm Josh Wheat. Wow, I'm Josh Reese, here with my colleague who made statistical-based arguments to suggest, I'm struggling, one quarterback is the MVP, but doesn't agree that the quarterback outperforming the other quarterback for the majority of said stats is the MVP. I guess it's just a feel thing, like the old coaches award. Shane Campbell, you lead 121 to 119. So who am I to judge you? How are you, buddy?
Yeah, pretty good. I think we are better viewing, even though you couldn't pronounce your own name. That is still more. You're still speaking more efficiently than the Patriots offense. So well done.
That is up there with the first ever intro. Like that was, phew,
That
that
was
was
good.
Josh Allen against the Jets.
For everyone of our 6 viewers, go back and watch that.
Yeah, yeah. I got
Six,
nothing.
six was being a bit
Um,
generous, eh?
yeah. I mean, if you count us twice. Um, here is my overreaction of the week. Of teams with 8 and above wins, you would only trust two quarterbacks to lead you from 2 touchdowns behind in the fourth quarter if you factor in their team and coaches. And they are Patrick Mahomes based on history and Jalen Hurts based on history. And you could make an argument for Tua based on speed of scoring and weapons.
Can you just
That's it.
read out the other teams who are 8 wins and above?
I could if I had it ready.
Excellent. Well done. Excellent. Oh, and it's hard to disagree with that.
There's the Lions, there's the Cowboys, there's the Ravens, there's not the Jags, the 49ers.
Hmm.
I feel like I might be
That's fine.
forgetting one
I
team.
trust the
That'll
Lions
do.
as long as they're playing the Bears because they did it 2 weeks ago.
Well, I don't think, yeah,
And they're
okay.
playing them again this week.
That's a fair call. The other, I'm going to call it overreaction that I have is Brock and Dak are equal MVP favorites. Dallas have 30 more points than the 49ers. The 49ers have conceded 30 points less. The 49ers will sack you more, and Dallas will intercept you more. So, those of you who pick one quarterback clearly over the other are suggesting the coach who has the Super Bowl ring is terrible compared to the coach who genuinely cannot trail going into the last quarter. And that's the difference. Neither Brock nor Dak, in my opinion, are the MVP. Jalen has 19 touchdowns through the air and 12 himself on the ground and leads the team who are ranked number one in the league. If it's a quarterback award, it's Jalen. Is this a stats-based quarterback award? Is it a team best team quarterback combo something? What is this MVP award? You can replace Dak with 7 to 8 quarterbacks and see no change and potentially an upgrade. The same with Purdy. You cannot replace Jalen or Lamar. Hell, you can't even replace Josh Allen or Justin Herbert in their dumpster fires of teams. Dak or Purdy? Please give it to Garrett or Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. With the MVP, it's got to be the biggest overreaction week to week award. Like, while it's Purdy and Dak, if one of them lose this week, it'll be like they were never in contention. I definitely think Tyreek is leading it. 2 weeks ago, I had Miles Garrett. I think Tyreek's got him, and if he hits that 2,000 yard mark, which I think he's only 550 yards off with 5 or 6 games to go, I think he'll win it. I think he should win it.
I
But
think he should.
yeah, we don't get
He
a vote just yet.
No, it's crazy. Of all the people who should get one, it's definitely us.
100%.
Um, but yeah, the quarterback argument for this year, this is the year that they shouldn't give it to one. Like,
No.
I understand the argument for both Dak and Purdy, but if you're going to give it to guys that could be replaced by 6 to 8 other players and the teams would actually be better, it seems insane to me.
No, I 100% agree with that, and I would love for them to give it to a non-quarterback, because then it will shut everyone up saying it's only a quarterback award.
Well, that's true. That'd put that to bed, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but until
And
then, it's only a quarterback award.
So Tyreek has 1,481 yards,
Okay, so 520 to go, and he might get it this week.
and he is 300 ahead of Lamb
Yep.
and 5 touchdowns ahead of him,
Okay. Well, Dolphins have Titans
which
this
is
week, so he
which is
could.
nearly double he's 12 to 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
big difference. There's no neck and neck in the receiving cores. There's Tyreek Hill and Daylight.
Yeah, because AJ Brown was running close with him, but he's dropped off the last month, I think.
Well, let's get into it with a really shit game. The Patriots at the Steelers. The Patriots sitting at 2-10. The Steelers 7-5. The Patriots coming off a loss 6-0. Yes, I said 6-0 like a soccer score to the Chargers, whereas the Steelers and their rejuvenated offense lost 24-10 to the 2-win Cardinals. I'm going to give it to you to kickstart this.
All right, just while I'm doing mine, at the end, I want you to give a score prediction. We never do score predictions, but just for this one game, I just want to see what you're thinking. All right, so Patriots. At the start of the year, I didn't really think that anyone was going to be worse than the Cardinals, and the Panthers quickly proved that they were. But no matter how shit the Panthers, Jets, Giants have been, no team is playing as bad as the Patriots right now, which is hard to say in a way because their defense is actually playing amazing. I think they've got, the last month, they've had the best defense in the league, scoring-wise. Goes to show how bad their offensive coordinator is. Steelers, it's a shame about Pickett, but he wasn't exactly lighting up the scoreboard. And I imagine Trubisky will put up more points, but he'll also have more turnovers. So the Steelers are going to get a lot more fun on offense. I'm taking the Patriots.
Makes no sense.
I know.
But okay. Score prediction, mate?
Yeah. Oh, you want mine?
I'll go first.
Yeah, sure.
After my take. So the Patriots have the 8th best defense for yards allowed. The 15th through the air and 3rd through the ground. 15th for points against, 28th on offense for yards, 23rd through the air and 22nd on the ground. I don't know how that works, but last for points by 11 on the Giants. Now, that may not seem like much to some people, but they're averaging less than 5 points a game across the last 3 games. So thank goodness that they got that offensive coordinator over Matt Patricia. It sucks about Kenny Pickett, but once again, the Steelers were insipid on offense, and this time it was against the Cardinals. Canada was not the only problem. I'm taking the Steelers, and my score prediction is 5-3.
2 field goals and a safety?
Yes.
All right. I am going to take the Patriots 12-7. 4 field goals to 1 touchdown.
Oh my God! I was going to say, like, you can't be serious. There's no way the Pats are scoring a touchdown on that Steelers defense.
4 field goals, because I think Trubisky's going to turn the ball over a couple of times.
Okay, yep. No, that makes sense. If he turns it over from their own 10 yards, yeah, we can score a touchdown with just like a 5-yard slant. We get it down to the 1.
And Patriots will probably pull something out in special teams. I think that's how they'll get a touchdown.
So we will score a touchdown. So we'll go touchdown, miss the extra points.
Yeah, so Steelers will probably get a touchdown. I don't know if they're going to score against the Pats defense, but they'll pull out a special teams touchdown.
I think it's more likely that the Patriots will score 2 defensive touchdowns, miss the extra points, and then score 4 field goals.
Yeah, that's what I'm taking. An absolute slobber knocker, 12-7.
Yeah, must viewing, that is. Moving on to the Lions and the Bears, oh my. The Lions sit at 9-3 after a win over Shane's Saints, 33-28. And the Bears sitting at 4-8 after a bye. The Lions opened the game in the first, and they opened this game up in the first quarter, and they just kind of cruised to victory after that. And I'm okay with them doing that, which is what they're looking for, me to be okay with them. The Lions have the Bears, Broncos, Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings. If their O-line can hold up against Dallas, Shane's Cowboys better watch out for Australia's team, the Detroit Lions. Fields is auditioning for a new team, so I hope he plays well. The Bears are going to get Caleb. Then with their pick, they need to make sure they protect Caleb and go from there. There's no point talking about anything else with the Bears because that's what's really happening. They just got to pray that the Panthers keep losing. Over to you, bud.
Taking the Lions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just checking. I'm also taking the Lions, and as you mentioned with the Saints, against the Saints, they came out firing 3 touchdowns in 7 minutes, but they stalled, but did enough in the 4th to get the win. And they need to get Jameson Williams, number 9, right here, involved a lot more. It's absolutely vital down the stretch. He's an absolute burner, and yeah, get him involved, and good things are going to happen. The Bears, Fields' greatest strength is his running, but the Lions are vulnerable in the secondary, so I think that the Lions can slow down Fields' running a little bit. because I don't think he's going to beat the Lions with his arm. I am taking Australia's team, the Detroit Lions.
Love that you're repping your Jameson Williams shirt.
That's right.
No more on that. Moving on to the Buccaneers at the Falcons. Buccaneers coming off a 21-18 win over the Panthers, and the Falcons coming off a 13-8 win at the Jets. Take it away.
Sure thing. Buccaneers win this, and they'll tie with the Falcons on head-to-head record and the division record, but they'll get the tiebreaker with the conference record, so they can go first with a win here. And they'll have the advantage of quarterback. Baker didn't look very good last week, but he's still better than Ritter, so just strolled to Evans, who had 162 yards of the 202 passing yards last week. Dude is incredible. Falcons, just got to take the wins when you can, as they did last week against the Jets. The being tested by the Jets is not a good sign. Ritter only completed 44% of his passes. But the Falcons have the easiest final month, so the Bucs need this, and I'm taking the Bucs to get the win.
So the Bucs have crept past the Panthers with Evans. Anything is possible, except majority of wins. Would love to see Evans go somewhere else. Maybe a team who doesn't need a quarterback in the first round can trade their first round pick to the Bucs. Maybe Cincy. As for the Falcons, yeah, that's all I'm saying on the Bucs. This division is equal parts wild and uninteresting. I'm going to pick the Falcons because you picked the Bucs.
Make it interesting. I like it.
That's my hot take. On to the Colts at the Bengals in the battle of the backups. The Colts are 7-5 after beating the Titans 31-28, and the Bengals are 6-6 after an overtime win against the Jags 34-31. The Colts, another impressive win, and they are one win behind the Jags. D'Amico Ryans is the front runner for Coach of the Year, but how can Steichen not be up there? This is incredible what he's doing. As for the Bengals, I didn't see that coming. I thought you, Shane, were just being your usual annoying, everyone is good at sports, participation award self, but Browning looked damn good. Also, as said on the broadcast a billion times, he won a lot in high school and college. Don't write off the Bengals for playoffs just yet. I'm taking the Bengals.
I'm also going to take the Bengals. But the Colts, I just keep winning. I think that's 4 in a row. And the next 4 games are against backup quarterbacks as well. So backup quarterbacks or quarterbacks that have been benched and come back in at some stage. So, yeah, this team absolutely loves Minshew. You can see the way they get around him. And Steichen looks to be a great coach already. And as you mentioned, has to be shortlisted for Coach of the Year. Bengals, that was a massive upset of the Jags. And Jake Browning was very impressive. As you mentioned, 354 yards, no turnovers, went at 86%. So I'm not sure who has the advantage of quarterback this week. I'm taking the Bengals just because they're at home.
I like it. Moving on to the Jags at the Browns. The Jags sitting at 8-4 after that 34-31 overtime loss to the Bengals, and the Browns 7-5 after a 36-19 loss to the Rams. Take it away.
Jaguars, that's an absolute disaster of a game. Losing to a backup in Browning and also losing your quarterback for... Originally they thought it could have been the season, but he may only miss 1 week, so fingers crossed he's not out for long. But you've got to rest him this week against the Browns because you don't want Myles Garrett, if he's ready to go, chasing around Trevor Lawrence when he couldn't even walk off the field. Get the man a card, seriously. The Browns, they... Look, they're similar boat as Jags at the moment. They're 2 teams that are good enough to compete for the AFC Championship, but neither of them have fit and healthy quarterbacks. Joe Flacco looked adequate through 3 quarters, but there's a reason he was sitting on the couch 2 weeks ago, and he's been moved back to the practice squad, so I have no idea what is happening at QB in Cleveland. So I'm taking the Jags based on that.
I am also taking the Jags, purely because they like to play away from home, and the Browns have a merry-go-round at quarterback. It's easy to say Trevor Lawrence got injured and that's why the Jags lost, but they looked the second best team all night in that game, and that was not a good sign. If the Jags play, and they should play their backup quarterback, the Browns can win it. I won't keep it as simple as if Trevor can't run around, then the Cleveland D can get at him as well. So it is an interesting game, and I don't think that Jags should play Trevor Lawrence no matter the situation because it's too risky. Because if Myles Garrett just has to get him once. But yeah, I'm taking the Jags.
He's got to learn from what Bengals did. Just don't risk him. Don't risk him. Get him fit and healthy. You've got to make playoffs anyway.
We'll move on to the Texans at the Jets. The Texans sitting 7-5 as well after a 22-17 win over the Broncos. The Jets are sitting at 4-8 after a 13-8 loss to the Falcons. It's another quality win for the Texans. They'll be 8-5 after this week. And outside of the Steelers, they're the only other team with a layup win that's standing around 7-5, 6-6, 8-4, that area. So it's a really good week to have the Jets. As for the Jets, this is the New York Jets. This is why people make fun of them. They are ridiculous. Look at all these other teams that are onto their backup quarterbacks and they're doing just fine. This team was like, we're going to make the Super Bowl. No, you weren't. Your O-line sucks. You suck. The Jets suck. I'm taking the Texans.
I am also going to take the Texans because who wouldn't? At the moment, the Texans are 1.5 wins behind the Jags, and they currently have the best, healthiest quarterback in the division, so they may be able to run him down. I'm not too sure. They have Jets, Titans, Browns, Titans, and Colts. So none of those teams have the QB that they've started the season with currently. Tank Dell's out for the season, which will hurt, but Nico Collins stepped up, and I believe in Stroud to keep this thing rolling. Jets, not only do they not have any quality at quarterback, they apparently don't even have quarterbacks that want to play. Zach Wilson was asked to, and apparently he said no, so that is hilarious. I'm taking the Texans. So, Texans, Jags, yeah.
Just so you know when to edit.
I'm not cutting that out. I'm cutting it in when you started that. So our 3 fans can see.
Yep. All good?
Yes, sir.
On to the Rams at the Ravens. The Rams are 6-6 after that 36-19 win over the Browns, and the Ravens are 9-3 coming off the bye. I'll take this.
Go for it.
Are the Rams coming, or are they just winning opportunistic games? I have no idea. And I don't expect to have another idea after this either, because Lamar against NFC teams usually ends in a demolition. With their strength on both sides of the ball, I have no reason to believe this will change. I'm taking the Ravens to win by a big margin. Your turn.
I will also be taking the Ravens, but not by a blowout. So, with Rams, we have been saying for the last month that Sean Payton is the most impressive in-season turnaround in recent memory. I think we also have to put McVay in that, because they were 3-6, now they're 6-6, and 8th in the NFC, so they could sneak in. And I hope they do, and they get the Lions, because that would be amazing, seeing the result of that big trade. They could face off. Ravens, so they're coming off the bye, they'll be fresh and looking to take hold of the number 1 seed. And if they win out, they'll have it, but they do have the 49ers and Dolphins coming up, so they'll earn the number 1 seed if they get it, taking the Ravens.
I think you should also put Bill Belichick in that turnaround, because we look like we could take the Eagles in week 1, and now we look like we can't get in field goal range, and that is very impressive. On to the Panthers at the Saints. The Panthers coming off another loss. What a shock. 21-18 at the Buccaneers. And the Saints, another loss. Now they are a chance to go 5-12. They're 5-7, but they lost to the Lions 33-28. Kick this one off, buddy.
I stole what I was going to say. I was going to say, did I say 12-5? I meant to say 5-12. Look, this should have been the easiest. This should have been the easiest year to win the division. And they're currently still a win behind, but look, they got a good run home. But yeah, the Saints, they haven't shown us that they can go on a run and win, so we just have to believe that they can't. Panthers. Just hoping they can get a couple of wins so the Bears do not get Caleb Williams in the NFC North. That's all I've got to say about them, taking the Saints.
Nice. Good quality take.
Yeah.
Panthers, are they a chance to give the Pats pick 1? Surely not. That's all I've got to say on them. As for the Saints, this team should be better. Their backup quarterback is better than most of the other starting quarterbacks in their division. Carr is definitely the best quarterback in that division, so what's the problem? The thing I always go to when the maths doesn't add up is the coach. It's the coaching. So get out, Dennis. Go be defensive coordinator at the Broncos, because we all know that's where you're going. Just fast track it, buddy. You may as well leave now. I'm taking the Panthers in the hope that the Pats get pick one.
That's a good point. Yeah, you made there that their backup QB is probably better than the rest of the starters. And I'm assuming you meant Winston. Sorry, but
no, Taysom.
I was going to say, and then I think Taysom.
Pick, actually.
I think Taysom Hill's also better than a lot of the starters. So they've got 1, 2, and 3. Baker's better than some of them. Don't know what order the ranking is, but
Taysom and Jameis would start at the Panthers or the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Taysom will probably start at the Broncos next year.
That'd be funny and then they'll take the rest of them, Kamara and others. Anyway, moving on to Vikings at the Raiders, another game we just cannot wait to watch. I don't have much to add here, except I'm very curious to see what the Vikings do at quarterback in the off-season. I'm backing in Kevin O'Connell, the coach of the Minnesota Vikings, coaching this week, but not too confidently. The Raiders are interesting with Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. You just hope to see continuous improvement. He's got some serious weapons, so either result wouldn't surprise me. What would surprise me is if I'm glued to the screen to watching this. I'm taking the Vikings.
Yeah, I'll be taking the same pick as you with the Vikings. Both teams off the bye, but the Vikings need this as they have a tough final month with Browning's Bengals, division leader Australia's team. They've got the Detroit Lions twice and the rejuvenated Packers who are in form. So I cannot see Vikings making the playoffs here. Raiders, they're playing for their coach and could cause some upsets. I don't think they will this week, and their season is over. That's all I've got.
Yes, it is.
Who cares? Neither of them are making it.
No. We're moving on to the Seahawks at the 49ers. The Seahawks sitting at 6 after the 41-35 loss to the Cowboys. And the 49ers sitting at 9-3 after the 42-19 demolition of the Eagles. You can kick this one off, mate.
Thank you. Not my Cowboys. Seahawks. They slipped to third in the division, which did not even look possible 3 weeks ago. And they've got no tiebreakers over the other 6-6 teams. So 49ers, then Eagles. So it's pretty tough, and that early season run will not turn into anything as the season slips away over the next fortnight. 49ers, top to bottom, most complete team in the league. If they stay healthy, there's only one question, and that's Purdy. I think everything else across the board, but it's just, for me, maybe it's just a case of I'll believe it when I see it in the playoffs. Seahawks, Cardinals, and then a showdown between the number 1 seeds, Ravens at 49ers on Boxing Day, Australia's time, taking the 49ers.
Nice. The Seahawks played really well against the Cowboys, but the difference came down to Dak and Geno. And Dak's simply better than him. They'll get pants by the 49ers here. As for the 49ers, the juggernaut rolls on. Purdy plays nearly perfectly, but it's all his teammates and it's not him. It's a system that has time and time again fallen apart without a quarterback. Sometimes it takes a 7th ring at a different organisation for people to say, oh, he's actually pretty good. Purdy isn't Brady, but he is performing at an MVP level, and I'm taking the 49ers here.
Really glad you clarified that, or else we're going to have a bit of a go there.
I was kind of teasing you with a little bit of bait. Moving on to my Buffalo Bills. That doesn't sound right. At the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills sitting at 6-6 off the bye, and the Chiefs 8-4 after a loss to my Green Bay Packers, 27-19. If I'm completely honest, this is the type of game the Bills win. And then they finish the season 7-10 and talk about this game for years. Such is this team and their mentality. As for the Chiefs, if they want to go back-to-back, they need to fire up. They need to start figuring out their offense. We've said it just about every week. Defense was poor. And my guy, Jordan Love, yes, Shane, my guy,
can have him.
Shredded him. They will have to be eliminated before I admit they're done, though. I'm taking the Chiefs.
I'm not sure which game I'm looking forward to more, Eagles, Cowboys, or this game between Bills and Chiefs. They are both going to be awesome. So, Bills, this is their biggest regular season game in a long time, and they've had the Chiefs' number when it's not a win-or-go-home game. And this is not a win-or-go-home game just yet. So they're coming off the bye. and they're a win outside the wild card spot. Josh Allen's playing near his best. So I'm taking the Bills to get the upset this week. The Chiefs, 3 losses in 5 games is something we've not seen in the Mahomes era. Win out, and they're the number 1 seed, as they've got the tiebreakers over Jacksonville, Miami, and Baltimore. I do believe they'll get it going at some stage, but they're running out of time. And if teams have found weak spots in this defense, it could be a season full of what ifs. What if you caught the ball? What if they found a receiver? Just what if they got Mahomes some help? I'm taking the Bills.
We are moving on to the Broncos at the Chargers. The Broncos are 6-6 after a loss 22-17 to the Texans, and the Chargers 5-7 after that phenomenal 6-0 win to the Patriots. You can kick this one off, mate.
Thanks. So yes, they did. The Broncos did lose to my Texans. What a run it was, but CJ Stroud put an end to it. If the Broncos are any chance to make playoffs, they need this one because they're losing next week to Australia's team. Wilson looks good when he does not have to throw the ball more than 23 times. Tiebreaker over the Browns, but not over the Texans, Colts, or Steelers, so cannot afford any more losses. Chargers, this is a game the Chargers win because they shouldn't, and then they'll lose to the Raiders next week because they should win. Biggest gap in head coaching ability in the league this week. I think Peyton and Brandon Staley is just as far apart as you could imagine. But at least Herbert can be trusted to throw the ball 35 times, which Wilson cannot. But can the coach be trusted to let Herbert throw the ball 35 times? I'm taking the home team. Go Chargers for once.
Fair enough. I'm definitely going to go overtime with this one, I reckon. So let Russ cook was what they used to say. So Sean Payton has been letting him cook in the same way that you let a toddler. You give them plastic utensils and you ask them to watch the pot of water boil from a safe distance. That's Russ's level of cooking. You don't want him peeling carrots in case he cuts his fingers. He can watch you mash the potatoes while you explain how it's done and how it all works, and when you whisk it up and make it nice and fluffy, you serve it all up and you say, oh, great job with the potatoes, Russ. Let's ride. As for the Chargers, that was awful. They got 6 points and didn't get to I don't think they got to the red zone. They're just pathetic, and they were just lucky to go up against another pathetic side. I'm taking the Broncos, though, and I'm going to watch Russ cook potatoes.
You're pretty happy with that, weren't you?
I was pretty happy with it. It could have gone for a lot longer too. It's not going to be as lengthy as the next one, I'll tell you that much. Moving on to the Eagles at the Cowboys. Eagles 10-2 after the 42-19 loss to the 49ers. The Cowboys 9-3 after the 41-35 wins to the Seahawks. I'm not going to start the timer because I'm just going to go for a long time and I'll let you rebuttal. As for the Eagles, I'm not jumping ship on this side. They had a short break. They just played overtime. They got slammed. The 49ers looked like they wanted revenge, which is great, but get revenge in the playoffs. I'm going to use more than this is the better team metric to make my picks in this game. I'm picking the Cowboys. So this is based on form, home team, and their offense and defense. This is the best Dallas Cowboys I've seen with Dak at the helm. You won't see anyone saying they'll make the NFC Championship game, though. Almost like there's a question mark on this side. It's not on the defense. That's legit. It's not on the receiving core because it's good enough. And CeeDee Lamb, second best in the league. Pollard, he can punch it in too when you need him to. It's got to be the coach, right? That's where the question mark is. The Super Bowl winning, proven track record of winning coach, yeah? No. It's on the dude who is the MVP favourite. It's the only question mark on this side. Dak is the best performing quarterback in the league this season. Dak is better without Kellen Moore. Dak is balling. The Cowboys are balling. But this is the run. Eagles at home, at the Bills, at the Dolphins, Lions at home, and at the Commanders. This is where we see if they are who everyone says they are, or if they are who I believe they are. Have your wins against the Seahawks, your demolitions of the Commanders, the Panthers, the Giants, the Rams, etc. These next 4 are where it's at. If you think Dak is the MVP, you have them winning out. If you don't, you're here to fuck spiders and wasting everyone's time.
Can't it be both? I'll jump onto the Eagles and we'll discuss the Cowboys for a little bit. So, Eagles. They started strong, but they could not find the red zone and apply the pressure that is needed, which I would have loved to have seen because a lot of the talk about Purdy is can he come from behind. So I would have just loved to have seen the Eagles get those 2 drives into the end zone and maybe the 49ers come back and it shuts up all the discussion about Purdy. But until that happens, there's still those questions. So if the Eagles lose this and they've lost the 1 seed basically for the time being. Hurts is banged up, but I expect him to battle through and stand up when it matters the most. One of the Cowboys. I do like a lot of what you said. The offense got it done last week when the defense couldn't make consecutive stops. Dak, over the last 5 weeks, I think he's 16 passing touchdowns to 1 interception. So he's absolutely flying. And as we know, when it comes to the MVP race, we generally disregard the first 8 to 10 weeks. So number 1 seed is still very much in play if they run the table. I'm not convinced they will though. But I didn't think they'd be 9-3 at this stage either. You did mention that the run game was good enough. I disagree with that. I think run game...
I said Tony Pollard can punch it in.
And I also disagree with that. I don't think he is that power back who can pick up the short yardage 3rd and 4th downs. I don't think he's going to be able to run it in when there is a goal line package either. So maybe we'll see how that plays out over the next few weeks. Definitely against the Eagles and Detroit. And as far as McCarthy goes... I think he definitely could be a limiting factor. It's we've been giving him shit all year about time management, about his play calling when it matters most, but then we're just going to switch that up when we want to prove a point for our argument. I'm not going to let you get away with that one. I can definitely go back through the last few podcasts and hear you pick shit out of him. So yes, he's won a Super Bowl, and can't take that away from him, but we also cannot forgive or forget it was the right play, it was the smart play, that whole incident.
It was just run incorrectly by the quarterback.
What about the play the year after that?
He threw it to a guy with 3 guys on him.
Zeke at center.
As for the argument of it being McCarthy, your argument, can Purdy come from behind? His coach can't.
Yeah.
His coach has a terrible record.
And that's fine. So maybe that's going to be the limiting factor. Maybe Dak and McCarthy got to make the same mistakes.
Cowboys, 49ers, Dak and Purdy, it's the same friggin' argument.
Yeah.
It's the same argument.
And hopefully they meet in the playoffs for the 3rd year in a row.
Both teams have question marks on it, and you're not going, oh, geez, I don't know if the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl. They don't have a running back.
No, but there's a lot of people. You said there's no one's talking about them making the NFC Championship game. I think there's a lot of people talking about
they're
them.
They're like 6th or 7th favourite for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's the betting. You said no one. We didn't talk about the betting odds.
I'm not even if they win this week, the Eagles will still be favourites to take the division despite falling 2nd.
Yeah, I agree.
And they will take it because everyone knows that the Cowboys are going to cowboy.
Yeah, well, I picked the 49ers to win last week, but I still think the Eagles are going to win the NFC. Like, you can drop these games.
The Cowboys are going to cowboy, buddy.
They might, and McCarthy's going to McCarthy.
That's the Cowboys cowboy. We could talk endlessly about this. Let's move on. Packers, after a resounding win by Josh. Packers at the Giants. They moved to 6-6 after a 27-19 win over the Chiefs. Seems that the NFC North has the wool over the Chiefs. The Giants stay 4-8 after the bye. You can kick this one off because I've got sweet FA to say about this game.
Cool. So Jordan Love is the guy. I was giving him a lot of shit. I was giving him a lot of shit the last few weeks because he does listen to the podcast, big fan, saying that they should sign to a max contract. I may have been wrong on that one. He's been excellent the last 3 weeks, and it's been an absolute massive turnaround to what he was doing a month ago. LaFleur trusts him with the misdirections and the motions in his offense that Rodgers just didn't want to run. It makes it a lot easier for Jordan Love in this offense. Plus, Watson, Dobbs, and Reed are quality wide receivers, and they could cause some big problems if they snake into the playoffs because they'll be a team with absolutely nothing to lose and no expectations. Giants, DeVito keeps his starting role even with Tyrod Taylor fit to play, and that is a brilliant soft tank by Daboll. I'm taking the Packers.
Nice. I'm taking the Packers. Packers, playoffs, they'll be 7-6 after the game. Good luck to the Giants. Moving on to the Titans at the Dolphins. The Titans sitting at 4-8 after a 31-28 loss to the Colts, and the Dolphins sitting at 9-3 after a 45-15 win over the Commanders. Titans believe they have their guy, and it's weird to say it's not about wins and losses, but finding their identity right now. Less wins the better, so they can get him some weapons. As for the Dolphins, the only other undefeated home team aside from the Cowboys. They will tear the Titans apart, and Tyreek will strengthen his argument for the MVP. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'll also be taking the Dolphins for this, and I'm only going to watch to be on Tyreek watch. That is all I'm interested in for this game. And hopefully another AFC QB does not go down. Titans, they should have beaten the Colts, and if not for a missed point after, they would have won it by a point before overtime. Tannehill was holding the ball, so let's blame him. It's his fault that the holder got injured, so Tannehill lets the Titans down one last time. I'm not sure they have any wins left on their schedule. The Dolphins, they are currently the number 1 seed. They have the Titans, the Jets, the Cowboys, the Ravens, the Bills. So we will know exactly who this team is heading into the playoffs. And I really hope Tyreek goes for over 150 this week to get a lot closer to the 2,000 yards. And that if he gets 2,000 yards, I think you've got to give him the MVP because there has not been any standout front runners throughout the whole season. So it would be good to see Tyreek get credit for obviously a massive season. But he's got to get the 2,000 yards first, taking the Dolphins.
100%. You have anything to say about the Cardinals and the Commanders who are on the bye?
No.
Me either.
Sorry to our legion of Cardinals and Commander fans.
Oh, we have heaps of them. They were so pissed off when I couldn't remember Sam Howell's name.
But you do now.
Yes, they'll never forget it again, even though they'll probably replace him.
Also, we will mention one thing. The Cardinals get the bye, and then they're coming back to face the 49ers. So enjoy that week off.
That'll work out well for them. That's it for us at the 30-second drill. Please follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Is that it?
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and your favourite one.
Yeah. That's why our Spotify sucks. 30-second drill. And again, email us only for sponsorship options. This week's sponsor, who is it, Shane?
Being sponsored by Snow.
Snow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Snow, because sometimes rain is annoying and you want it to be harder. See you next week, buddy.
Yeah, well done. Is snow harder than rain?
I don't fucking know.
Oh, that's good. I like it.